I'm delighted to welcome Ingrid Kylstad, Managing Director of Klaveness Digital, to today's interview. Ingrid, it's truly an honor to have you with us.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your video.
Your career path from representing the Norwegian Ship Owners Association in EU public affairs to serving as COO at Catapult Ocean and now leading digital transformation at Klaveness Digital while also sitting on the boards of Solstad Offshore and GC Rebus Salt. That gives you a rare mix of policy insight and practical industry experience. That combination makes your perspective on today's maritime challenges especially valuable. Before we dive into details, for those who may not be as familiar with Clavveness Digital, could you very briefly introduce what the company offers?
Yes, Clavveness Digital is part of the Thorvald Klaveness group based out of Oslo, Norway. And Thorvald Klaveness originates from more traditional bulk shipping. And I think a lot of your viewers will know us for the combination carrier concept, which is built and taken forward by Klaveness combination carriers. And we also have Klaveness dry bulk, which is a classic operator model. Klaveness Digital was born out from the belief that all our experiences in physical shipping gives us a unique position to also look at the customer's problems and challenges, also from the digital angle, because we understand the space they're in and the problems that they have when it comes to managing their freight and their maritime supply chain. And we wanted to take a step into the digital business domain by establishing Klaveness Digital as a company, focusing on software as a service for many of the customers that we already serve with our physical shipping services, but also as a way to expand our customer group to also maybe reach companies that we would not reach otherwise. So that's the background for Klaveness Digital.
Thank you. And with the recent consolidation of digital services under Klaveness Digital, how is this enabling new synergies in developing and commercializing maritime tech solutions?
So for several years, well, I think let's give a little bit of history first, right? Because Klaveness Digital started as a classic incubator. It was the case of putting some bright minds together in a room with lots of post-its and a lot of time to explore various value propositions. And the result was what has been our core product for many years, Cargo Value, which is a supply chain management tool. And for several years, Klaveness Digital was centered around that one product and one customer group. And at the same time, we saw that other parts of the group also started to experiment with digital products. And last year, we came to the realization that we would be better served thinking along the lines of portfolio thinking when it comes to our services, because we saw that we target many of the same companies, if not necessarily the same users. But I think we also came to realize that if you want to be good at building software and services in this field, you also have to make sure that you create a good environment for it and have a large enough environment for it as well, to be able to have some positive synergies, both when it comes to development, technology, but also on the commercial side of things. So the reason why we want to pull it together was internal, but also, and as importantly, also from the customer perspective, that they wanted to have one company to relate to, and I think that's important.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Clavveness Digital provides real-time insights for supply chain management. What key challenges in maritime logistics are these tools addressing, and how do they position KD as a leader in digital shipping?
So what we are focusing on a lot is the whole supply chain planning process. So the supply chain planners is the user group that we target with our Cargo Value product, which is very much about just optimizing how they plan to reduce demurrage, make sure they meet inventory requirements. Our customers are large industrial companies where the maritime supply chain plays a very critical part for their operations. At the same time, they want to run it as efficiently as possible, and in a way that allows for real-time collaboration across teams that sit often in very different locations and time zones. And that's what we cater for, so that over time these teams can actually work towards common KPIs and have a real-time view and understanding of what's going on in the maritime supply chain, so that they can make optimal decisions for their inventory levels, but also for their demurrage. So that's I think that's like the core of what we currently do in Cargo Value. Right now, we are in a very exciting process of also defining the roadmap ahead for that product, which direction we are going, and we're validating a couple of different directions with prospects, of course, also with existing customers, because in software, as in, of course, many other lines of business as well, but you could never really rest. You also always have to provide your customers with a vision of where it's going. So that's what we're currently testing to see where the product needs to evolve.
Let's explore the technical foundations behind what you've just described. So the maritime industry generates enormous amount of data every day, from vessel performance to weather patterns to port logistics. How is Clavveness Digital using data and AI to generate insights that transform day-to-day shipping operations and logistics?
So obviously data is at the very core of everything we do. And I think what we do is, of course, to bring a lot of the customers' own data from their operations and help them contextualize it with AIS data. It can be with port data, a lot of other data sources, help contextualize it so that it provides actionable insights for the customer. That's where we want our products across the portfolio to be. So to kind of help them find a good balance between what they have access to in their own data and the different sources that we bring in, and then help transform into insights that they can act on. That's how we work on that. And I think obviously we make use of a lot of widely accessible data sources, but the secret sauce is the transformation of it and the contextualization for the customer. And I think it's safe to say, like, you know, everyone else that's in this space, we're also exploring how we can then apply AI on top of these data sets to help further accelerate the actionable insights side to this.
That's fascinating to hear how you're leveraging data to continuously improve your products. And innovation, of course, doesn't happen in isolation. And with your innovation background, I guess you understand the importance of structured processes for developing new ideas. As an innovation engine, what processes does Clavveness Digital use to identify and develop new digital ideas from within the company and with clients?
So when you hear innovation, right, the word, I think a lot of people think that, you know, that's just a little bit of chaos, a lot of creative energy, and of course it's that. But in 2025, we have committed to rigidity, to be really rigorous in terms of how we follow very textbook innovation processes. Because I think what's key in innovation is to help teams understand what matters at various stages of a product. In the early stages, you focus on understanding the problem you want to solve. And then later on, you start to understand the kind of market you can apply it to. And then eventually, you know, you have to look at the scalability of it. But you can't look at the scalability in step one. And to kind of give the teams a framework that helps them prioritize what kind of factors they should be assessing at the various stages of a product or an idea. I think that's very important. And we also want that process to help us make really objective, fact-based decisions about what we continue to pursue, what we invest in, and also what we disregard. To kind of take a little bit of the heart and the feeling out of it, because I think everyone who's ever led a project, they start to believe a lot in it, right? Almost irrespective of what the facts will tell you. So for us, at the moment, we are quite textbook when it comes to an innovation following an innovation process that is very structured. We believe that that's going to help us make better decisions and ultimately also be faster.
Yeah, I think those innovation processes you've described are particularly crucial when we consider sustainability. This is something the entire maritime sector is grappling with, and having worked with EU public affairs, you've seen firsthand how policy and industry practice needs to align. Let me ask, how do Clavveness Digital tools help maritime players incorporate sustainability into their operations, such as through data-driven efficiency improvements?
So we actually have one product in our portfolio, which is just called Emissions. And the background for that project was all the regulatory things that were happening in this field, especially around the inclusion of shipping in the EU ETS and the corporate requirements related to Scope 3 reporting, which obviously many of our clients need to adhere to and also want to adhere to. So we created a reporting tool, which basically takes the complexity out of managing and reporting on shipping-related emissions. And that was a product that we launched a few years ago, but that has recently gotten quite a lot of traction. So I think despite all the, there's a lot of doom and gloom writing about sustainability and all the bureaucracy around it, but our experience is that the large corporates, they've taken it to heart. It's really important for them to understand their carbon footprint. I think we're still a little while away from them being able to operationalize those insights and put it into like really hard strategy and put KPIs on that in an operational context. But it really starts with getting the data right, understanding the CO2 risk in your supply chain, and that's where we can come in and support, and of course also link it with their supply chain operations over time. I mean, nothing would be better than if you consider a vessel that you look at the merge risk, but also the CO2 risk. I think that's a vision that we will keep pursuing. But for now, we see that having good data, trustworthy data on emissions, that's verified, that's really the one motivation that drives most of the companies that we work with, at least. But I do think, of course, efficiency overall has a lot to contribute to when it comes to sustainability, although maybe the headline isn't sustainability, but a more efficient supply chain will ultimately also, should at least in theory, lead to lower emissions.
You've outlined some compelling sustainability benefits through the data-driven efficiency improvements, but as someone who has worked extensively with industry associations, you understand that there's often a gap between recognizing the value of digital solutions and actually implementing them across diverse maritime operations. So the shipping industry can be very slow to adopt new tech. What practical advice would you give operators on integrating digital solutions to stay competitive and sustainable?
I think a very practical advice would be to think of buying software as a slightly lighter process than what it has typically been. Because a lot of these companies, they have bought software for a long time. Many will have a complex voyage management system, for example. But when they look at software, they come with a very much like an ERP head into it, right? They think they make a commitment for a long time. But the way the software landscape is evolving in maritime, I think we will see that customers shop around and they will switch providers every 2 years or so. And I think, that's the first they need to recognize, right? They're not marrying a provider just because they're using their product for a year. So make it a little bit lighter. I think that's one piece of advice. But then it's also to let their teams explore. And then give them some freedom to explore different tools and rather say report back to the team in 6 months the benefit of this, and we can consider a longer term contract to kind of again allow your employees to explore what makes them better in their role. Because if it's only top down, I think companies lose out on a lot of good opportunities. But I think that also plays into recruitment. I mean, there is a generational shift happening in shipping, and there's a lot of data savvy, tech savvy younger people joining companies, and they expect to have the freedom to work with best practice tools and test new ways of working. And I think companies need to embrace that.
Yeah. Your insights on implementation are really valuable. I'd like to get a bit more specific about what's working in the maritime market right now. So what specific digital tools or platforms from Clavveness Digital are seeing the most adoption, and how are they creating value for users in real-world scenarios?
So the product that we have the most customers on is Cargo Value, which is our supply chain management tool. And obviously, the key benefit that provides is that it allows users across the planning functions to collaborate in real time and understand what's going on in their supply chain. Do they have delays? How do we deal with those delays? How does that impact our inventory levels? How does that impact our demurrage to kind of make more action-oriented decisions based on real-time data? That's key and kind of helps them move away from using Excels, where maybe your formula, something happens there, or it's slow to update because the complexity, right, that many of these companies deal with is enormous. So that's a clear value provider there. Then another tool that we're currently out in the market with is called pre-vetting. And that has to do with supporting chartering teams doing a very rapid initial vetting of vessels that they consider to take on. That's an important tool to kind of help you ask better questions faster, for example, to an owner, and give you more objective insights into the vessel's performance and ratings. And that's basically to counter I would say, the epidemic of oversubscribed vessels in the industry. So that's what we're trying to solve there, the issue of overdescription, and to give the chartering teams more data to base their inquiries on. And then finally, it is emissions that we currently see quite a lot of interest around. And again, that is a reporting tool, but we see that most of the companies we work with, they have a longer term plan on how they can use these data as their data sets grow richer and more verified. So that's very exciting to see how, I think, over time, like the sustainability aspect, it's there, and it may not make as many headlines as it did 3-4 years ago, but it's much more integrated these days.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the current adoption, that gives us great context. And now I'm curious about your vision for what's coming next. So what emerging technologies like AI, enhanced analytics, does Clavveness Digital see as a game changer for maritime supply chains?
I think AI can help solve a lot of interesting problems, but the main job is still to understand what the problem is, right? AI is a technology that can help you recognize patterns, recognize what kind of actions you should take, but you still, as a solution provider, you still have to really understand the problem that you would like to solve. But I think within, for example, optimization and evaluating various scenarios with large complex data sets behind it, AI is going to be a game changer for shipping, and I think that's something that's going to really impact how we run our supply chains. And I think that's going to be very, very interesting. But I don't think it's going to be easy to provide a lot of value in that space. I think that's going to take still quite some time for many companies to really like pin down what exactly it is they are solving with AI. But that's coming, and I hope that we are a part of that space. So I think, like everyone else, we see a lot of opportunities with that technology. But again, it really comes down to understanding what's the problem that you're trying to solve.
So innovation in this space clearly requires strong partnerships. I'd love to understand more about how you work with the broader maritime ecosystem. And how does Clavveness Digital collaborate with clients or partners to co-develop solutions that tackle industry pain points like risk management or efficiency?
So several of our customers, they've been with us for a long time, and we get a lot of input to how our product should evolve from the customer, right? So we like to do workshops with them. We really take all their feedback quite seriously, and at the same time, we need to balance it, right? Because we're creating software, not enterprise solutions. But obviously, they are close partners in this field, give us a lot of inspiration. Recently, we've also opened up more to collaborating with other companies within maritime software, especially companies that have access to data that we find valuable for our clients. So we're now pursuing a couple of initiatives down that route, and I think that's exciting. That will also help us bring more value to the customers early on. So that's something we're pursuing and open to pursue as well. I think this is a space where you will also see more consolidation in the years going forward, and we want to be a force to be reckoned with in that respect.
Very good. Ingrid, thank you for such an insightful discussion. You've highlighted how Clavveness Digital is driving smarter, greener, and more resilient shipping. And your perspective is truly valuable. And I'm sure many in our audience will take inspiration from it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Joachim.